day 18 and just before 8 a.m. and we just left the campsite. I think we have about half a mile more until we make it to the Sassafras Shelter. Actually no, half a mile of incline and then 1.5 miles until the shelter. So so ready to get this climb over with. But yeah, it rained a little bit last night. All my stuff stayed relatively dry. My bag was like a little damp, my sleeping bag a little damp, but I honestly think that's more from like the humidity and just the moisture in the air, because nothing like was actually wet inside my tent. But I don't think it's like bad enough to be concerned about. One thing that I did, like, I don't know, I just wasn't really sure what to do with, was my bear bag, because I hung my bear bag last night in a tree, and then this morning, obviously it rained last night, so this morning when I went to get my bear bag, the whole outside of the bear bag is wet. And typically they say you should put your heaviest weight like mid-back. So the heaviest thing in my pack is my bear bag. And so usually I put like the order of operation on my pack is my sleeping pad, quilt, bear bag, then clothes bag, and miscellaneous items on top. So my bear bag usually goes right on top of my quilt, but then it was wet. So I tried to wipe it off with one of my dirty socks to kind of try to like absorb some of the water off of it. And I had like a plastic grocery bag that I kind of put in between my quilt and my bear bag. Because I didn't want to put my bear bag at the top of my pack outside of my bag liner, because then like the weight would be on like the top of my back, and like I just think it would be uncomfortable. So I don't know if anybody has suggestions on like what to do with your wet bear bag after a night's rain. Let me know. I'm just kind of hoping the sun is supposed to come out this afternoon, so I'm hoping we have some time to just stop and kind of dry out our stuff. My rain fly, put it in the outer mesh, but it probably has like a pound or two worth of water weight added to it right now, because it was just soaked this morning. But that's the joys of a double wall tent, I suppose. So, but yeah, not to just be complaining all morning. I actually slept pretty good, except for the trees were kind of like creaking, which was like a little freaky, but other than that, slept really good and feeling good today, despite being absolutely worn out last night. So I think our plan for today is to do about like 10.6 to the shelter that I can't remember the name of it. So I'll update later. We may, if we're feeling okay, we may try to push a little further just to get us to closer to Fontana for tomorrow. But I don't know. Yesterday was tough, so we may just try to like do our 10.6 today and call it a day. I don't know. We'll see. So stay tuned. It's kind of hard to see with all the trees, but that's a cloud. Oh, there goes my turtle. That's a cloud down there in the valley. So it's pretty cool to be up here above the clouds and watching them move with the wind and whatnot. There's kind of a view on the other side, but again, it's kind of hard to see with all the trees, but maybe we'll get some openings and I can show you guys better. I swear I've seen the biggest trees ever in my life while hiking through North Carolina. This one has like pretty much swallowed these two smaller trees that were beside it, because that's how big it is. That's crazy. I wonder, like, I mean, I wish I had any idea kind of how old a tree this big is, and you might not even be able to tell on video, but take my word, it's big. It's really, really large. Here's the Sassafras Shelter that we were gonna try to make it to last night. It is a big shelter. It's about 14, but definitely not many tent sites. As you can see, like the tents that are set up, they're on like big slopes. So I'm glad we stopped where we did. But yeah, the shelter has pretty nice views though. Just not many tent sites. And it was definitely very full this morning when we rolled up. Made it to the top of Chioa Bald. Here is the summit marker plaque thing. And this is said to be one of the best views on the AT south of the Smokies. So let me show you guys the view. Wow. Stunning. Well, we sat at the view for about 20 minutes and never cleared at all. So fortunately, we're gonna take the L and keep on hiking on down the trail. A big issue with rain gear, at least with my frog togs, is that there's just absolutely no ventilation. And so even though it's like quite chilly outside, when you're climbing up mountains, you start to sweat in your frog togs. You don't want to unzip it because it's raining, and then you stop to rest and your sweat just turns into like icicles, and then it's just hard to like get warm again after your sweat starts to like cool off. So I know they make some rain gear that has like the pit zips in them, and I think one day when I have more money in my budget, I might invest in something like that, because it is cold when you stop. But I guess that's more motivation to keep going, you know. But it kind of sucks because like back there, I would have liked to like have waited for the view a little longer, but it's just too cold to like stay stopped, you know. But it's okay. I'm making it. My little fingers are very cold though. Whew. But the more you hike, the warmer you get. So more motivation, I guess. Back in the Moody Forest. Definitely testing out the waterproofness of my pack today. Let's hope for good news at the end of the day. If it doesn't help you grow or glow, let it go. The sun decided to come out. We've got a nice little ridge walk. Pretty views. Sounds like there's a busy road somewhere nearby. Maybe near Stickoa Gap. You can kind of hear like the car noises. Well, this is interesting. This tree up against the rocks looks like it maybe split, and then this portion looks kind of like it's dead. Huh. Okay, all these big rocks are super cool. Super cool. Don't bears live in like caves like this though? Or did I just make that up? Because like this looks like it would be prime bear territory. Might not want to stick around too long for that. More big rocks. Try to film a little bit without totally busting my butt. It's embarrassing because you can see my shadow on the ground. That's okay. It's only guys videoing and rock hopping at the same time. Stokoa Gap.
Come, join our drying out party.
Not a bad view from here to Stokoa Gap. And apparently this little tiny bump right here is Clingman's Dome, which I believe is the highest point on the AT maybe? So, kind of a busy road though. This is definitely where the road noise is coming from. Shout out to Nick Harris's Eagle Scout project. Putting some stairs up. Could have made him a little less sleep though, but still appreciate it. All right, Brown Fort Gap Shelter, that's where we're heading. 2.4 miles. That was quite the climb out of Stokoa Gap. I think it was only like 2 miles, but it was straight uphill. And I hate to sound ungrateful, but the worst part of like doing big climbs is when you get to the summit and there's not a clear view. I mean, it's still nice to look at between the trees, but I would at least like a nice little viewpoint to stop at and rest. That's okay though. I think 0.7 to camp tonight at the Brown Fort Gap Shelter. I think that's what it's called. And I'm hoping that there's some tent spots still available. On Far Out it said that there were limited tent spots. So, and I think the shelter only sleeps 6 people. Which, again, if you're in the bubble, it's gonna be full. So, we'll see when we get there. All right, we made it to the Brown Fort Gap Shelter. Now time to try to find a spot to set up my tent. Rainy nights means hanging a clothesline at camp the next day. There's the shelter up there, and here's our little tent village. Not too shabby. So it's officially the end of day 18, and made it to campsite, and not that many people were here, surprisingly. So we got pretty good tent sites, and just had my dinner and hung my bear bag. So getting ready to go to bed. Today ended up being about, I think, a 10.6 mile day. And it was a pretty good day. The climb out of Stokoa Gap, oh, that was tough. And it was like right there at the end of the day too. But other than that, it's pretty good. Not too bad. Tomorrow we're going into Fontana. And I'm excited. We're going to take a 0 in Fontana, which is much needed. We're going to stay at the Fontana Resort, I think it's called. So we have a pretty big day, I think 11.3 miles into Fontana. So we're going to try to make it by, I don't know, like 4:30 or 5 o'clock, just because we don't want to be getting into town too late. And then hopefully pick up some food or something on the way to the resort, and then taking a 0 the next day, which I think is Saturday. All my days are kind of like running together at this point. So, but yeah, so another big day tomorrow, but then we have plenty of time to rest before hitting the Smokies. So it's going to be much needed. Alrighty, well, I will talk to you guys in the morning. Bye.